Hello and what's up guys? In this video, something serious is happening up north and the details coming up from this Arise News interview are raising plenty questions. President Tinubu, through his special assistant Abiodun Essiet, is now vowing to completely wipe out terrorists, bandits and those causing trouble across the north central region. She revealed that the government has been moving from state to state, meeting community leaders, listening to painful stories and trying to calm fears as people deal with land takeovers, boundary fights, foreign fighters sneaking in through porous borders and long-standing mistrust between communities. But here is where it gets even more intense. Essiet warns Nigerians not to twist the crisis into a Christian genocide narrative, saying both Christians and Muslims have been affected for years. She also exposes shocking details about mineral resources attracting armed groups from outside the country and why some leaders might be avoiding the real root causes. Guys, I will let you watch this video for yourself so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Also, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Take a look guys and remember to share your thoughts after watching.
The federal government has intensified community engagement with states in the north as part of efforts to reassure the people of the government's readiness to fix issues of insecurity. Abiodun Essiet, who is the senior special assistant to the president on community engagement, in a chat with Rise News, says the president's message of peace and hope have been taken to all the north central states with an assurance of peace. She also met recently with religious leaders in Plateau on the allegation of genocide in some parts of the country. Religious and political leaders in the states pledged their support for initiatives that will guarantee peace. And Dr. Abiodun Essiet, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, North Central, joins me now in the studios to shed more light on the engagements and whether they can bring about peace in the troubled areas in the north. I think I would really want to start with that. There seems to have been a kind of lull in north central Nigeria now about terrorist attacks, what some people want to call headers, farmer clashes and the rest. But we know it's gone beyond that, right?
Yes, please. And
how would you describe your engagement? Fruitful, one that can bring reassurance to the people and the community, return lands grabbed by these terrorists back to their owners?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me this night. And first, let me share my condolence with the people who have been kidnapped in Kwara State and also Niger State. You know, our community engagement has been the effort of Mr. President to engage with people, listen to their concerns, and also reassure them. And we've been doing this for quite a whole, for 23 months since we got the appointment. For us, we started with a listening tour across the North Central region for us to understand what are the issues across the North Central region, which are documented and also briefed. We briefed Mr. President on the current circumstances in the North Central region. And my last visit was to Plateau State on a peace engagement mission to engage different stakeholders. Because, you know, for people who have been in front of the security issues for Nigeria, you should know that every region have their own peculiarity. For North Central, we've been suffering from historical grievances, historical mistrust, land grabbing, ethno-religious crisis, boundary terrorists. You know, with the recent happenings that people are now changing narrative as if it's been a Christian genocide, is something that we need to caution and also throw more light in. I've been documenting crisis in Niger State for a while. We have people in the IDP camps, and you can go and check the religion, and mostly Muslims. We have people from Kantagora, we have people from Rror that have been facing insecurity, but now why sudden attention to the Christian communities in those regions? It's raised a whole lot of concern. Because
in one fell swoop, sometimes in December 2023 or 2024, more than 500 Christians were killed and buried, and it was, I mean, in public space, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So the Elwata massacre, what do you call that?
Absolutely, but when you don't understand, yes, when you understand the fact that you are calling a genocide as if the other section...
Should this country really run away from the reality?
We need to get the fact right. The reality is Christians and Muslims have been killed, particularly in the North Central region. We are suffering from historical mistrust. Okay, for instance, I visited Reverend Ezekiel. He gave me this book about the massacre of 300 people here. And part of what we normally highlight for people is issues in North Central region, especially in Plateau State. 70% of the crisis in Plateau State have been reprisal attack. See the book he gave me. The first few lines I will read, if you permit me. It says, this is the massacre of 300 people in 2010. It says, and I read that they came to a neighboring village in Just East local government where they suspected to have been hosted for a few days before the launch of attack after sending threat letters informing the villagers affected to get ready for their coming of attacks in revenge to the people they lost during 2008 crisis. That's the reprisal. Why are we not asking critical questions about what exactly happened in 2008, how many of their men were killed, and what led to this reprisal attack? We're not asking critical questions. And why would the Reverend now insisted that now it's a genocide against Christians when a lot of people are being killed? Castle rustling is happening, land grabbing happening. Call it the name it is. We are facing banditry, we are facing terrorist attack, we are facing Fulani militia in those regions. Let's call it the way it is. And don't let us stigmatize and say, no, it's the Christians that are being killed. I'm a Christian. And from this book he gave me, from the first few lines, you know this was a reprisal attack. And a reprisal attack is not a calculation, you kill 2, I kill 2. You can kill 2, I kill 200. And that has been ongoing in Plateau State for more than 20 decades.
Isn't it a failure of government? Isn't it a failure of government at all levels?
At all levels, that we all inherited, that this government inherited, and the state governments also are not doing their own work.
No, government is a continuum.
When you look at a statement and you are now trying to stereotype a crisis in a religious dimension without acknowledging other root causes, in every area that you see this crisis across the North Central region, there's something interesting happening. They have mineral resources. Why is it that everywhere you see bandits or terrorists, and we've documented that across the news, they have something, and why is there so much tension in those areas? You're going to Yagba East, Yagba West, and we have also border control issues where, you know, we have a porous border. People are coming in from other countries to attack our people. Why are we not acknowledging those issues?
The case of Kwara State, which falls under your portfolio, for example.
Absolutely.
You know, so the new surge is not a matter of, farmer headers.
It's also part of the...
It is strictly the mineral resources in Kwara State and the terrorists coming from, outside the country. And
outside the country, we have people who have been attacking Zamfara. We have, similarity of those people in Zamfara now in Kogi and now in Kwara State. Yes, because of the mineral resources that is there, and we need to address that. And for government not to be distracted, President is doing a whole lot.
They just might get as far as getting the oil from the Niger Delta. Then
President is doing a whole lot to curb this issue. But we need the Nigerians to also understand the fact that a powerful president said this is a Christian genocide, we all believe it without. And Donald Trump also have the fact and figures of what is going on in Nigeria. We have Muslims that have been affected in the northeast. We have churches in the southeast that have been attacked. In the south, a Catholic church was attacked. People were killed. Why didn't we call it a Christian genocide at that point? We need to be realistic because we don't want to suffer what Rwanda suffered 20 years ago or 30 years ago. When they now, it took Rwanda 20 years to forgive France for what they caused by saying, okay, you are Hutus and you are Tutsis. We don't want people to define us based on our regions, or we are Nigerians. Nigerians are suffering. Nigerians are being killed by these people. Let's come out together and address the root causes of this issue and not just, iron everything up based on what is it or based on the religious dimension. It's beyond that. And when you see a reverend speaking sentiment.
But the government acknowledges the fact that foreign terrorists are on the Nigerians.
Yes, we do. We always say that there are porous borders, and we are doing our best
and
to
the
make
government
sure,
is weak. The government is weak in routing them.
No, it's not that we say we're weak. We are putting all measures together. It's a coordinated approach.
For how long?
We are going to get there. But these are some things that we have inherited, and we should not make it look like this happened 20 years ago. I have read white paper report in Plateau State since 2001 till date. The root causes are still the same.
But
so why are you not changing?
There seems to be a rewind of 2014, 2015 when these terrorists were brought into Nigeria. We saw the Chibok kidnap and the rest. We're seeing a rehash of it right now from Zamfara to Kebbi and Niger.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yeah, so we're dealing with a whole form of terrorists, and we need to attack it that way. And the government has also
acknowledged. How about the terrorists within?
They are also part of the issues, but why are we not? Why are we not acknowledging that, and we are changing the narrative to be a religious one and bringing us sentiment? When I met, and I see videos about Reverend talking to Piers Morgan about we have Muslims in this government that are helping to do this. Why must it be throwing sentiment on a global figure that we have Muslims, and that's the reason we say because of the Muslims you have in this government, that's the reason why you have insecurity in your state. Both locals in Plateau State and the Fulanis are doing legal mining. Why are you not addressing that? Both locals are also poisoning other people's farm. They are also killing themselves. Why are you not addressing that? Why are you shying away from the root causes of what is causing the problem?
Well, I sure would invite you some other time again to give you plenty, room to expatiate some of your thoughts and the rest. Dr. Abiodun Essiet, she's the Senior Special Assistant, Community Engagement, North Central of Nigeria. Thanks very much for coming.
The discussion with Abiodun Essiet offers a detailed look into the federal government's ongoing effort to address insecurity across the North Central region. According to her, President Tinubu's directive has centered strongly on community engagement, listening tours, and direct consultation with religious, traditional, and political leaders. These engagements, which have been ongoing for nearly 2 years, aim to rebuild trust, document the realities on ground, and reassure affected communities that government intervention is not only active but evolving. A key highlight from the interview is the emphasis on understanding the complexity of the crisis. Essiet explains that insecurity in the North Central is rooted in decades of historical grievances, land disputes, boundary tensions, and the presence of both local and foreign armed groups. She notes that while recent conversations have leaned heavily towards framing the situation as a targeted religious genocide, the evidence shows that both Christians and Muslims have suffered significant losses. This, she stresses, is why the government is urging caution against oversimplified narratives that could deepen division or fuel further conflict. The interview also sheds light on the growing influence of mineral resources in attracting armed groups from outside the country. Essiet points to the similarities between attacks in Niger, Kwara, and Zamfara, and warns that porous borders continue to enable the movement of foreign terrorists and illegal miners into these communities. She adds that the federal government acknowledges the scale of the challenge and is adopting a coordinated strategy to combat both external and internal threats. Another important aspect raised is the need for Nigerians to address the root causes of the crisis rather than focusing solely on its religious dimensions. Essiet references documented reports dating back more than a decade, noting that many of the same issues identified in earlier white papers remain unresolved today. For her, meaningful progress requires confronting the underlying drivers of violence, from illegal mining to land disputes and long-standing mistrust between neighboring groups. The federal government's message, she reiterates, is one of peace, unity, and collective responsibility. While the road ahead is long, she maintains that engagement with communities, transparency in communication, and consistency in policy implementation are crucial steps towards restoring lasting stability. We would like to hear your thoughts on this development. Do you believe the government's community engagement strategy can significantly reduce insecurity in the North Central region? And what further steps do you think should be taken? If you found this analysis insightful, kindly subscribe to Niger Star News, share this video, and stay tuned for more updates as the story unfolds. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.